we're going.
That's another thing too. Steve just likes to hit record. So we are on
the
right
fly.
now.
Okay, we're good.
So you are on.
I like it.
Sweet.
Get on the fly.
What, Pastor Ronnie
Yes.
Bowers, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Bowers.
ERS.
Nice. Like, when do you ever get people? Are you a big Starbucks guy? Do you go to Starbucks a lot?
No. People who drink coffee don't do Starbucks.
Okay.
We do Dunkin'.
He's a coffee snob.
Yes, I am.
I will say I'm becoming more of a coffee snob already.
Most people do.
I didn't drink coffee. The podcast listeners know this. I didn't drink coffee until about 2.5 months ago, and
Children will do that.
I'm so glad.
yeah, I'm an addict
Such a big
now.
boy now.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was one of those things like
He's
you
pooping in the potty. That's so great.
you always say your name though. Like at Starbucks or Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And they give you like a weird name. Does that ever happen to you with Ronnie?
Yes. I normally get Rodney,
Okay.
or something like that. Or I get my name spelled really funky,
Yeah.
which is really annoying. But, but growing up, my nickname stuff was the worst in the world, man, because Bowers, Bow Wow. So, that's kind of what I still get. Matter of fact, I'll preach about that sometime soon. But anyway.
There you go.
But
Did you ever get one that stuck? Did Bow Wow stick?
oh, yeah. I had Bow Wow till I got married. And matter of fact, I was in Asheville a couple months ago just on a little study break. And this guy says, "Hey, Ronnie, Bow Wow." And then I get every life story that you never want to hear again all came back at the same time.
I bet,
So,
yeah.
it's pretty annoying.
I've never had. You ever had a nickname stick?
Yeah, Big D.
Where did that come from?
I have no clue. I wish it went away. That was my high school.
What was the origin of that?
Steve. And rednecks don't say Steve. They say dude. And so it's Big D.
Interesting. I never had a nickname stick. My baseball coach, and when I was 12, he called me Iron Man because I was catcher at 12 years old, and I caught every game. And so he would always call me Iron Man. But it never stuck. It was just him,
But
So I don't have
the truth is that was still Coach Pitts, probably, right?
Huh?
That was Coach
No,
Pitts.
that was
T-ball.
I started catching. Well, no, yeah. I started catching. When I started catching, it was the first year kids pitch because we didn't have a catcher on the team.
Okay.
And my grandpa was a catcher, and so I was like, I'll do it. Sure,
I'll do it.
And then I was hooked.
It's in my genetics.
I called all the way till high school.
Oh, did you really? Cool.
Yeah, I didn't play in high school, but all the way up till then.
You got up to that.
I love it. So
Yeah.
this is a get to know you
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
what was your thing in high school? What was like?
What was your
Gosh,
thing you
Let's
did?
relive all those moments you don't want to relive. Let's relive them.
motorcycles mostly.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I loved motorcycles.
Like dirt bikes?
Yep, had a YZ 125.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That means
would
nothing. to me.
Jump anything. It
You're
means,
like,
it
I said, oh,
means
cool.
fast.
We need an
And,
interpreter of those
you know,
tongues.
And then I had a 250 later, but
Okay.
the YZ was my favorite. So, and we would jump anything. It landed me in the hospital for about 8 weeks.
What'd you break?
And whoa, you were in the hospital for 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you break?
I literally ruptured my spleen, and I had a hematoma, which
So
is
you came down
nothing
on the
but blood.
handlebars.
You know,
You came down on the
I
hand-
came down on a big rock,
Okay.
and we had been jumping it, so we built a bigger ramp, and because
Sure.
I had a better bike, and I hit it, got clotheslined by a tree, and landed on this rock that's about the size of a Volkswagen, and so
So wait, let me pay this. So you literally went up, tree
Got
limb knocked you off the bike.
off the bike onto my back onto this big old rock, and man, it was just bad. Went in. My mom said I couldn't walk. They drugged me to the house. My buddies. My mom said, "I don't want to hear it. Go away. Go do something." A little bit later, I said, "Mom, there's something wrong. There's blood everywhere. Help me." So ended
that's
up.
crazy.
I had to call in a specialist for a kidney specialist out of New York to come and see what was going on with my kidneys because neither one of them were functioning. And then called my sisters back from a youth trip. They said, "Man, he could die." And so anyway, and then the kid next to me died in the middle of the night. So
Whoa.
I was freaked out.
Whoa.
For real?
Yeah, kid next to me died in the middle of the night.
Wait, the kid you were riding with, or
No,
just
another dude in the
okay, I was about to say,
hospital.
wow, this is
So
crazy.
then
This is going
then
nuts.
Then it freaked me all out, So then I was panicking and, that kind of thing. And my dad said, "You're not dying, maybe." And so,
He said that?
yeah,
Oh,
he said, "I don't think you are."
Bro, that is wild.
here
So,
and
yeah.
and so, when parents say, "Don't come to me if you fall out of a tree."
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't say that, parents.
So then we didn't jump that ramp anymore. We jumped another ramp with,
That one got
with
done.
trash cans, and then I clipped one. Ended up having to have stitches all across the top of my head, and then I was riding probably 6 months after that. Was doing donuts in a sand pit, and my buddy said, "Man, your foot's all red." And I said, what do you mean my foot's all red? So I stopped and I looked. My boot was just totally red. Pulled my riding pants up, and I had a beer bottle stuck a piece of a beer bottle stuck in, cut all the way to my bone. I wasn't supposed to be riding yet because Mom and Dad weren't home, and so, but we told them that the other dude's mom was on the way, and she was supposed to be, but anyway, and so I laid there till I just couldn't get up. I was all white, and finally this little Japanese lady that lived at the end of the street, he came, to helping me up the thing, so they put me in her Mercedes.
Nice.
To
Bleed
go to the
all over.
doctors.
Rode in
And
luxury.
we happened to ride down by my mom and dad's house, and my mom pulled in about that time, and I ended up 48 stitches on that one.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
So what we're finding out is that you're pretty hard-headed. You don't learn from your mistakes.
That's pretty much it. That's it.
So was that the final straw for dirt biking?
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
No, as a matter of
What
fact,
was?
as a matter of fact, we got tired of dirt biking, and my buddy's dad had realized, we're pretty young, 13, 14. He had a Gold Wing, brand spanking new, but none of us could touch the ground.
Nope.
On the Gold Wing.
And that's a
But
lot of weight.
it didn't stop us from riding it. We would ride
Just
it
keep it
and
up.
We would ride into the square, and we would, because the neighborhood was kind of like that. We'd ride up into the garage, and we would jump it. You jump our leg over like this, and it would fall over. We put a mattress down in the garage and let it land on the mattress, and then we pick it back up, roll it around the other one. We get on it.
Awesome.
And
so
that happened till I had to pass my dad
There you go.
on the road. He was coming to pick me up, and I had to pass my dad on the road, to.
And he was basically,
And
because
he-
basically you were redneck engineering a landing pad for how much bike?
It was,
That bike-
I don't remember what it was, but it was a big old
It was a
gold
big
wing,
old, so it was
big side saddles on it.
multiple thousands of dollars to
Oh,
just
yeah.
lay down on a mattress.
Yep.
So I got to ask the last question. How high was the limb that you got?
Probably.
Were you up
well,
there?
the ramp that leaned against it were 18 center blocks high, so that's what it was.
That's not small.
So, but what we would do most of the time, if we had a little
Ronnie, that's
ramp
awesome.
that you can land on, but we had built up with just sand and all that, but it had rained, so it kind of wasn't in the right place. And so we would sometimes get all the way down and just kick our bike out at the bottom so we wouldn't land, because you couldn't land it.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, our bikes were tore to pieces most of the time.
Yeah.
We were rebuilding it, drilling holes in the muffler so they were louder, and that kind of junk.
That's so wild.
So
But dirt biking accident was not on my bingo card for
That's-
this
no,
interview.
it wasn't.
It was not.
It's not.
Not just an accident, like an almost dying accident.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
crazy. Cool.
It was fun.
I love it.
It was
So
good
out of
days.
high school, did you go to college anywhere?
I did.
Where'd you go to college?
Well, we got married and went to college.
Oh, cool.
Norma was 18, just
What's
out
your
of high
wife's name
school.
again?
Norma.
Norman.
And so we went to Gardner Webb together, and we did it in 4 years. And I ran a business the whole time I was there. I had a landscaping business and had probably 40 yards, I think 12 businesses and 2 condo complexes. Wow. And so we had all of that going on at the same time. And so we ended up we moved to Bowling Springs, and then we moved back to Belmont so I could run my business, and I would go 3 days a week to work, 2 days a week up there. And most of the time we'd take the same classes so she could read me the material on the way up to take a test,
There you go.
because I was a terrible, terrible student.
Wow.
That's where I found out I
So
had
thank you,
dyslexia.
Norma, for getting him through college.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Were you terrible because you didn't try, or you just?
I
weren't
didn't
good at it?
realize I had dyslexia, and I never knew it till
Oh, wow.
I got to my senior year of college. And I just couldn't
That'll do it.
figure it out. I couldn't study.
So did you figure it out, or who in your life helped you figure it out?
There was a teacher, one of my history teachers up there. She said, "You do everything backwards." And so we started talking about different things. She sent me to the lab there,
Right.
and they said, "You have severe dyslexia." But I also used to stutter a lot. When I was little, I get real nervous and do that. When I preach, sometimes I still do. Or I just turn the microphone off and act like I did Sunday.
That's right.
Be quick on your feet.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when was it at Gardner Webb, or was it at Gardner Webb when ministry became clear, pastoral ministry? When was? 'Cause
Actually,
you
when
served
I
somewhere
was
before that, right?
Yeah, when I was 18, I felt like the Lord was calling me into ministry.
Okay.
And matter of fact, it was at Old Calvary where Central Church of God is now.
Yeah.
It was their last week. They were transitioning churches there, and there was a concert there, and a guy named Mike Warnke was preaching, and Mike, right? And so anyway,
I don't
I don't know Mike
I don't know
Warnke,
that
but
name.
I know of Mike.
well,
Because that
that's
was in my
irrelevant. But anyway,
There's
that
a
was the
story
night,
there.
Yeah, and that was the night. He just kept going on and on. There's somebody called the ministry, and my youth pastor leaned up to me and goes, "Are you going to go, or we're going to be here all night?"
That's right. Because we can't leave
Had
till
y'all
you
been
move.
talking about that?
We had.
Okay.
We
Mhm.
had. And so that was the
To
night.
me, that was just, I don't know. I guess.
But to be honest with you, I saw no way that I was going back to school for anything.
Right.
And so, Norma and I decided to go to college, and understand Norma was like valedictorian. She's the smartest person anywhere we ever go.
There you go.
So I married her so I could get through college.
Amen.
And so we did.
Same.
It was really different when I went to seminary because I had to do it on my own. And, I learned to study. And
She was on your team. That's all good.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to seminary at?
Southeastern.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Gotcha.
So I went to Southeastern, did an MDiv with languages, which is the only thing that ever made sense to me was Hebrew.
Huh.
That's fascinating.
Because it's right to left. It's the way
That's
I think.
crazy. Wow.
And it was.
Wow. I just
That's
realized
wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And so it was very, very easy for me for some reason.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the first test, the guy said, "You're cheating. How are you cheating?" I said, "I'm not cheating.
Just makes
It
sense.
just makes sense."
Yeah.
And so anyway, so that's how. Now Greek wasn't the same. Greek was hard, but you do what you got to do.
Well, they say, I don't know if they said this for y'all. They always told us, they're like, if one makes sense to you, the other probably won't. That's what I don't know.
Yeah,
if
that's
I don't know if
probably
that's
true.
true or not.
Well,
but
you see, I got mine.
neither of them made sense to me.
I got
so.
mine the decaf way, meaning I didn't have to do those languages.
Oh, you didn't have to do any of them?
Nope.
Wow. Look at you.
I did put the books back on my shelf today.
Did you?
But I haven't looked at them
There you
since.
go.
I'm about to say, how good are you
Never.
still at Hebrew? Are you good at it?
No, terrible.
You got to practice so
Yeah,
much at it.
you
It's
gotta
crazy.
you gotta keep doing it, and I didn't.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I remember I was bad at Hebrew, but I remember when I took Greek, our professor, I was doing good, liked it the whole first semester, enjoyed it, and we got to a point about 3 weeks left where we were getting to participles, and he looked at us one day and he says, "Guys," he said, "if you feel good right now," he said, "this class right here, like this particular day, is the most important day of the semester. If this goes over your head, you are going to be lost." That's what he said. And we did participles that day, and it went over my head. And I was like,
you're lost.
And he was just like, he's like, "We're about to get to a spot that if you can't hang, you can't hang." And I was so good, I felt good, and then that was when I got lost. And so, anyway,
Seminary was the first time educationally that I ever applied anything. You know what I mean? It was different.
It all comes
I
together.
was older.
Mhm.
I was in there
All
going,
comes together.
and I was sitting there in class going, "Why is he in here?" And I was, just you get a little more mature. I had been in ministry a couple of places.
Mhm.
My first ministry was a youth ministry. Then my second was, and then I felt completely called out of youth ministry.
Fell from grace. We call that calling.
yeah.
Falling
Yeah,
from
you
grace.
know.
Was it did a high school, middle school do something dumb,
Honestly,
and you're like, "I'm
yes.
out"?
I had a lock in, and I can't tell you anything about it.
It
But
all
it
started
was
with a lock in.
terrible.
Right. Everything went black.
Yeah, and then we went skiing, and one of the kids fell, got a concussion. You had to know this kid's name was Rolo, and so
His name was Rolo.
it was fitting.
And he was rolling down the
Yes,
mountain.
he was.
Rolo.
Well, he got a
R-O-L-O.
concussion, and I just thought it'd be funny to mess with him,
Yeah.
And so they said he'd be fine. So I'm going down there, and he says, "Well,
can't hurt him
what time
anymore."
are my mom and dad gonna?" I said, "Look, dude," I said, "I don't know if you remember this or not, but you're an orphan." And I said, "You don't have a mom and dad."
I was not expecting that.
And I thought it was funny, and we went for it for a little while.
Hey, Rolo, you're
And
not
then-
an orphan in case you didn't come out with the
So I
name.
spent the next 3 days in the
Rolo.
pastor's office
Say, okay.
trying to keep my job, and I did. And
I
but
was not expecting that
yeah,
story to go
it's
there.
pretty funny.
That's pretty
then my
awesome.
next trip, I got a kid threw up on my neck in the van right behind me, and I thought, I got to get out.
Like,
of
I'm
this.
out. I'm done.
I got to get out of this.
Speaking of names, real quick, this is crazy. Okay, mild tangent. So we just had a baby, and we're in the hospital, and we're talking to our nurses, just making conversation stuff. And so I just asked him, I was like, "Man, I bet y'all see some like crazy names, right?" And the girl says, "You have no idea." And she said, "I saw this one a couple weeks ago." She said, "I'm gonna write it on the board for you, and you have to like pronounce it." So it is. So she writes L-A, and then there's apostrophe. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, okay, it can't be la. That's too simple. And I was like, is it apostrophe? And she says, no. This is how you pronounce it. Ready? La comma in the air. That there is someone in Charlotte right now with that name.
I don't feel so bad about my son.
Is that not crazy?
The comma in
La
the-
comma in the air.
That kid.
Kind
is
of creative. Kind of creative. I don't know. True story. That was there's not one more real quick. They said another one. She wrote this on. She said this is what is on this kid's birth certificate.
That's
okay,
nuts, man.
and she wrote the names JKMNOP. JKMNOP. How you pronounce it?
You just did. Is that what?
Noel.
Sorry.
She said that's a true story, man. There's someone in Charlotte named JKMNOP, and they go by Noel.
Noel, because there's no L.
Is that not crazy?
Oh, that's bad.
Anyway, okay, sorry. That's that. I'm still
Poor
kind of.
kid.
I know I'm still kind of shook on that. Anyway,
So-
yeah, it's crazy. Cool. So you in youth ministry, didn't you work? Not to tell your story for you, but didn't you work in a bank too?
I worked for IBM.
Okay,
Well, for a subsidiary.
gotcha.
We did I managed the buildings,
Okay.
everything coming in, everything going out.
Was that before any?
That
thing in
was
ministry?
between college and seminary.
Okay, gotcha.
How many years was that?
12.
12?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd never really done much with my hands other than landscaping stuff, and so I learned to build crates, learned to level stuff and move stuff and all that kind of junk, and that part was fun. But kind of, we had just had Mary Gwen, and we just had right after that we had Mathan, and when we had him, I just got to this place where I felt like I don't want to do this and say, oh, this is what I do for a living. And I started talking to her about my calling again, and we decided that I would go back to seminary, which I thought I would never, ever, ever, ever do. And then I said, I'll go back and I'll work in a position that actually I'm in now. I thought that's what I would do, more of an executive kind of role, managing people and that kind of thing. But while I was in seminary, this guy was helping us through seminary, and his church lost their pastor, and he said, I need you to preach. And I said, man, I don't preach. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, you do this Sunday. And so anyway, that's what we ended up doing. I went and preached, and we got in the car afterwards, and Norma looked at me and she said, where'd that come from? I said, was it that bad? And she said, no, it was really good. And so I preached there for a little while. Then I did an interim in Lancaster, South Carolina.
Lancaster.
Yep.
Right down the road.
It was a trip. Probably one of my favorite places of all time.
Where? What church?
Crestview Baptist, right behind the little golf course on the backside over there by Second.
Okay.
Behind the airport. I was there.
Lancaster has an airport.
Lancaster has an airport. Just in case.
I mean, it's crop dusters, but anyway, but it was funniest place, man. I can tell you so many goofy stories. I learned what not to do in baptism there. There was this little lady. She was square. She was 400 pounds probably, and I was baptizing for the first time. Man, I was so excited. My man bought me a new pair of waders. Had my suit on underneath it, and I was just and realized, I'm an hour and a half away from my house.
Yep.
So anyway, I start to baptize her. She's coming down the steps, and the water's coming up. And she got to the last step, and I thought,
yep, this ain't gonna happen.
Oh, please, please, please. She took one step, and you heard this thud, and my whole waders filled up with water all the way up to about my middle of my. And of course, I'm looking at one of these guys, and I baptize her, and I'm just looking for guys that are, the same chubbiness as me. And I'm looking around, and I said, hey, brother, I need to see you, Jimmy, for just a minute.
Yeah.
And I get him in there. I say, hey, man, I need your clothes.
Right now.
What?
I said,
I need your clothes. Well, I didn't realize that he was as short as he was.
Yes.
And so everything fit except the pants, and they were mid-shin.
Capris.
Nice.
They were awful. And
So
I
he
just
Kind of the style
He
now. It's like
started the
kind
Capri
of the
Pastor.
style now.
So anyway, I walked out, and of course, by that time, everybody's laughing.
They're so funny.
And
That's
cutting
awesome.
up. And then, and same thing. I did a funeral down there, and it was my second funeral. It was my second funeral. So I'm sitting there, and this lady was an old maid, nice lady, but she had a cat that was about the size of a Cocker Spaniel, and it was huge. And the instructions were, when she died, was to put that cat, put it to sleep and put it with her. And so anyway, they did it, put it to sleep. Well, we're about to start. And all of a sudden, I look up, realize now it's in July, and I see these guys with trench coats from the funeral home. And I look down, and I realize, oh, no, because he's standing there, and he's got the coat, and the tail is hanging out the bottom of his coat. And so they come walking down together like this real tight. They had already closed the casket. So literally they just hit the two little latches, opened up the thing, and just chunked it in there. And then they shut the casket. Well, I'm sitting there. I'm on the platform. I am dying.
Yeah, this is too
I am
funny.
trying not to laugh,
This
and
is
I'm
too
holding
funny.
it so much that tears are rolling down my face, and all of that.
He loved her so much.
Well, her Sunday school class, 3 or 4 days later, I get a note that says, "We had no idea y'all were that close." And I never had the nerve to tell them I was laughing.
Oh,
But it was
That's
hilarious.
great.
It
That's
was
awesome.
wonderful. But greatest people, man.
That's cool.
I had to apologize to them when I left. I am so sorry that I had to preach some of these sermons to, all that kind of stuff. And so, but it was
We
fun.
love you.
Yeah.
That's cool. So the place you were at before here, you were there for a long time.
I was at Flint Groves, a little mill church. It's literally named after the two mills, the Flint Mill and the Groves Mill.
That's a cool name.
And so it's on the wrong side of the tracks in Gastonia. Literally, the railroad tracks are our back door.
Okay.
Nobody actually probably goes there on purpose. I mean, unless they're going there on purpose, it's a choice. And we got there. To be honest with you, the long story of it, I thought there has got to be a better place than this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We were there about 9-10 weeks, and my wife normally looked at me and go, "Are you sure?" Literally, we took our kids to nursery the first week, and there was nobody there. And they said, "Oh, we didn't know y'all had kids."
Okay.
And so I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And so we probably had about 80, my first 70, 80. We grew to 50. It just did not go
That is
well.
growth, by the way.
It
Don't
is
do the
it.
math. It is
Yeah.
growth.
It's church math.
But
That's church
after,
math.
but after 2 years, they have been fighting about some of the dumbest things in the world, and I just kind of stayed steady and all of that. God began to heal it, and then God just kept blessing it, and so we bought up lots of properties and did a lot of ministry. Really, a community-based ministry. I mean, it really is heavily involved in the community, and it was fun. We were there 24 years.
That's a long time.
20.
Yeah. So I had no idea I'd be here. It wasn't a plan. Wasn't looking.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, didn't even want to pray about it, to be honest, at the beginning. Had nothing to do with here. I enjoyed where I was, and we just started talking back and forth, and I'd had a pretty severe heart attack 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we've just been talking about doing something a little different, and finally my wife basically said, "You're not listening. You need to get away and listen." So
Good job, Norma.
I did, and that's how I ended up here.
That's cool. So
anyway.
ended up here doing, I don't put words in your mouth, ended up here doing what? So let them know what you
I'll let you know when I figure it out.
Cool.
There you
Sounds
go.
good.
No.
That sounds about right. I love it.
It is technically the role is supposed to be executive pastor, but I really am developing it on the fly just a little bit, kind of figuring out where the needs are, because sometimes you put it on paper and it just doesn't look right.
Sure.
And Mike has, I think, the wisdom to say develop it, and we're doing it together, spending some time together. Really, right now, I view my role primarily as pastor to the pastors, just learning to serve them, encouraging them. People, that's one advantage, I think, from being in ministry so long. And I know what those things look like. I know what the struggles look like. And, I always had a really good staff. I've been really good at developing no matter where I was, staff-wise and staff people. And so it's kind of, it is actually the natural side of who I am. The preaching part was a little harder for me. I got better over time, but, I would never, like, for instance, when I first started preaching, I would not sit in the pulpit or area before. I couldn't do it. I needed to be down there because I'm fidgety, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And I've been preaching 24 years. I still feel the same way.
Really?
And so, but we got to do things at Flint Groves I never thought that Flint Groves would ever do.
Right.
Much less us get to do them. And so we built partnerships all over the world, and it's probably one of my greatest passions is plant churches anywhere, So that's a little bit about Flint Groves. Our kids, it's really hard. Some of our kids are still there. My mom and dad are still there.
How many kids do you how many
I have 4. If you count my daughter and son-in-law, that's 6.
Okay, yeah.
And we have a grandbaby.
Nice.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
How old's your grandbaby?
She's 15 months.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Norma keeps her every day, because my daughter works here at the school.
Yeah.
And, so it's a funny
That's
mix,
It's a funny mix.
It's interesting. So, my son-in-law, Mary Gwen, my oldest daughter, he's in seminary at Southeastern.
Oh, cool.
And then my son works for Billy Graham. My other son is a minister of music, and my daughter works for, my youngest daughter, Gracie, works for Travis Agnew down at Rocky Creek in Greenville.
Okay, cool.
So, anyway, we're blessed. Our kids they all love the ministry. I would say that's my favorite thing about Flint Groves is I didn't have a lot of pressure on my wife and kids.
Yeah.
People just loved us, let us do what was in our sweet spot. And so, my kids grew up with no tension there.
Yeah.
And so leaving some of them are staying there, staying put. And,
Oh, that's cool.
but, it is what it is. And so we're enjoying it. It's different for us right now. Man, we want to move.
Because you still live
I was wondering
there.
if you were gonna.
You still live in.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but the dad did the dumbest thing that I've done in years
What?
today.
What did you do?
I was coming into work this morning.
Full disclosure.
I got
Hot
up
take.
really early
Okay.
because I wanted to get in here, work on my office
Yeah.
before people started getting in there. And, man, I was going down 485. Next thing you know, I look up, and I'm in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm at the I've gone 20
Happens.
minutes.
Drove
I went
by.
right
Happens.
past it. I thought, what in the
Yeah.
world? And so then I'm mad, hollering at myself, you idiot. And I know people are looking, what is he doing? Well, then I get in another traffic thing and then meet a new church member today. I was trying to get in. And so normally I shoot to get in about 6:45 and I think I got there about 8:15.
Love
and
it.
I was just, my whole plan for the day just went south.
I thought you were going to say I met a new church member on the way back, and it was a highway patrol officer.
He met Randy Langford.
met Randy
and,
Langford.
No, that happened. That's how I met my youth pastor
That's,
several years ago.
that's right.
Running from a police officer.
There you go. Hello.
Yeah,
There you go.
So,
It is a thing.
we were dating. Norma and I were dating, and I had to be home. My mom and dad were really, really strict.
that's not a problem,
11
yeah.
o'clock, not 11:01.
Nope.
I mean, 11
if you want to live,
o'clock.
you better get home.
Every minute I was late. No joke. I'm not
Boom.
kidding. Every minute I was late came off of next week's date.
Boom.
And so it was, and after 30 minutes, you lost the whole night.
There you go.
And so anyway, but I could leave her house and get to my house in about 8 minutes. I am not condoning this. This was really stupid. But anyway,
Full
I could get there
disclosure.
in 8 minutes. And one night I was running a little late.
Yep.
And so I'm heading down Sam Wilson Road over in Charlotte. I was flying. And I saw the unmarked police officer coming my way.
Uh-huh.
And so I did what any wise person would do. I cut in the neighborhood and turned down the first road. And then I was looking for a garage carport somewhere to pull. And so I saw this
Bad
house.
boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? All you needed was no shirt, and you're making the
Yeah.
episode.
Listen, that would have, it couldn't have added anything worse to it. But
That's-
anyway, so I'm looking and I see this carport. I thought, oh, there's nobody in it.
Right.
So I pull in this driveway and I look and there's packing boxes halfway through and then there's a little bitty Honda about halfway. And I looked and I went, are you kidding me? And there was Kentucky tags. We had a brand new second week at our church, Minister of Music, Youth. And I look up and in the kitchen window is his ugly head. and so the policeman goes flying by.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the lights come on. He backs up,
He saw you.
pulls in. Come to find out, it was one of my neighbors. I dated his daughter. It didn't end well. So, man, I got the whole, everything, man. He said, I know you were going faster than this, but I clocked you at 68 and 45, and you're going to have to come to court, blah, blah, blah. And read the whole riot act to me, and he goes, and by the way, if you're going to run from the police and you park somewhere, take your foot off the brake. And I went, oh, you're kidding me.
That's
and
awesome.
It's
you
like,
know.
saw you.
I love
Well,
it.
you were still processing. That's our youth pastor.
Well, see, man, I came up with a great story.
Okay.
I mean, I was thinking as I was walking, I got out of the car like I didn't notice him.
Yeah.
And I was going to go to the door and say, this is my youth pastor's house. My girlfriend just broke up with me, man. I was real upset.
Wow.
And all of that. And I had all of that in my head. And he just says, I don't want to hear it. Get in the car.
That's it. Done.
Man,
Sounds like a pretty good police officer, honestly.
That sounds-
I was thinking-
I don't hear it.
I don't
that
hear
was a really good story.
it. It was a really
you know,
good story.
And then,
Should have told him
anyway.
in the way. Can I at least just tell you?
Yeah.
what
Can I
I'm gonna
tell you the story I
Yeah.
came up with?
See if
No,
you maybe
I
would've
tried
done
to tell him that. I mean, I went on with it. Man,
How
I
old
only
were you
had-
then? How old were you then?
Let's see. I would have been 17.
I'll tell you what, we do stupid things, man.
Oh,
love
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. You know, you look back and go, man, I can't believe I did that.
yeah.
But I'll see that guy every now and again, and
be like-
you know, he'll go, "Hey, man."
Think of the story you have
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we had a couple other ones, but anyway, there's a pre-story to that too, though.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he never really did like us. We had this place called the Dive Pond that we rode our motorcycles, and there were two. We would, you know, ride and jump this jump, go down this hill, turn around the road, and come back up.
Right.
And they came out, you know, because our motorcycles were really loud. Remember, we drilled holes in them, make them louder, you know, and that kind of thing. And so he came out one day and said, if y'all do that again, you know, y'all can't come down here in this road. Y'all need to be quiet. We worked a night shift. We're tired and blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, a month or two went by, just forgot, you know. So, man, I go tailing down through there, come out, you know, gooch it a little bit, heading back up the hill, and come back down about 30 minutes later, and when I do, he just snatches me off the back of my
Whoa.
motorcycle. Same guy, same police
Wow.
officer. And so, you know, he's chewing me out. I've told you you're on a public road. You can't do that anyway. And y'all, I've asked y'all nicely not to. And I said, well, man, I didn't see your car. He said, my car is right there. And I said, well, but I wasn't looking for it, you know. And so he made me from that. I mean, probably a mile away. He made me walk my motorcycle.
Yep.
No gas. I mean, I couldn't. It was in neutral, up the hills, down the hill, and he followed me in that police car all the way to my house.
That's good loving right there, buddy.
Yeah,
That's
not a good thing.
that's not a good,
So-
but it was a good thing, but not a good thing at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So good.
We need to get like a monthly episode with Ronnie, like just story time with Ronnie.
Just story time
These
with
are good stories,
Ronnie.
man. These are good.
There's more.
And then we can have special guest appearance.
I'll save some.
Let's bring preacher in for.
Yeah, we'll have
we do-
special guests. We'll have the officer come in and sit down.
Yeah, yeah.
We do. We want to get a cardboard cutout of Preacher Mike and put him in the corner. So when me and Brad and Steve record, we're just reminding that he's watching.
He's
us, you know?
always watching. That man has so much bandwidth. He watches so much.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, hey, so that's good. We're glad you're here. We
Yeah,
are.
seriously.
Thank you.
Speaking from ourselves and our church family for sure. So let's do. We don't want to take care of your time. Let's do 4 minutes of just rapid fire.
Rapid fire
So
questions.
Just real,
All right,
real
sounds
quick.
good.
Just I got.
You're
one.
better at this than I am.
Okay.
Huh? I got one. If you had to, you're going on a road trip and you got to eat fast food, what you getting? And what's
Chick-fil-A.
the Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
That's kind of a no.
Just straight up.
Christian.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what's your order?
You're
Chick-fil-A.
such a Christian.
Just a regular sandwich and large fry and a Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Dr.
There we go.
Pepper.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wearing stuff.
If you could pick any sporting event to go to,
Oh, it's a good one.
any sporting
It's a good
event,
one.
what would you want to go to?
Steelers football game Monday night.
What? He's a Steelers fan.
I did learn that. I knew
Hard
that.
Steelers fan.
Just a Monday night.
Just
Steelers
go.
game.
Yeah, I just like Monday night football.
It
I
is
just-
pretty awesome.
Man, if you've never been to a stadium like Pittsburgh's on Monday night, nothing better.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Especially the last time we went. Well, not the last time, but the time before last. Man, we were second row. Ben last night. We were sitting right there. No joke. The guys on the front, the guy fell over. Thing passed out. So we slid down to the front row and watched
Opportunities,
the rest.
baby. Opportunities.
Yeah. We prayed for
Prayed
him.
for him on his way out.
That's right.
We
Yeah,
did pray for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he honestly, the bad thing about it is he was paralyzed, or
Ooh.
they thought
Oh,
he was.
dang. Wow.
And his brother was so drunk he fell over trying to help him, and and we prayed for him. God deliver him,
And
and
enjoy
thank
the
you
seat.
for
And gave you
delivering
better
us.
seats. There you
And
go.
so,
That's right.
man, but Ben got to come by, so we're
That's
we're
cool.
diehard
That's
Steelers fans. I have this little inn with them. I can go. I have to order tickets once a year to stay in this little pool of tickets, but we
Oh,
go
cool.
once
So
a year.
he goes once a year.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
So who's your? Do you like map out? Or do you look at the calendar about okay they're playing this team I'm going, or do you try to go and they play the Ravens or something
Monday,
like that?
Thursday. It really doesn't
Okay,
matter.
gotcha.
So it has to be a Monday or a Thursday.
Yeah, just church stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
we
true.
get up, drive up,
Yeah.
stay the night, do the whole shindig,
Yeah.
go to Pamani Brothers.
So what you're saying is if the Steelers ever come through Charlotte, you're there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm
Done.
there.
So who's your favorite Steelers player all time? Favorite player?
Bettis.
Jerome Bettis.
The bus.
Yep.
The
Yep.
bus. I like that.
Got to sit with him at the touchdown club in Charlotte. several years ago.
Oh, cool.
Got a
He's still
autographed
big.
football.
He's still big.
Yeah, he's still a bus.
That's
So
awesome.
anyway,
Okay, that's a good question. I know I already know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, so we have you on the record. Favorite college basketball team?
North Carolina.
Let's
Tar
go.
Heels.
Let's go.
There is nobody else.
Them boys balling this year.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
doing good.
So are you the kind of fan that's like? I mean, they play at 7:00 tonight. You watching?
Most likely.
Okay.
But normally my boys are there.
Okay.
So we're gonna watch it no matter what.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
any like big sporting nights, the boys will show up.
Yeah.
You know, take over. Really because they don't have food and they come to our house to eat it.
There you go.
You know,
I'm kind of bummed. I'm
Yeah.
excited for the opportunity. I love. So I'm going down our East Campus this Saturday night,
okay.
and I'm preaching at the youth weekend
Yeah,
retreat.
yeah. Looking forward to it. Yep.
Totally forgot. That's when Carolina plays Duke.
Oh,
Totally forgot that. So that game will
gonna
be
be a
on.
shorter
That
sermon?
game will be on. Well, I don't preach till 7:30. So that game will be on record, and I will have my phone off, and I will come back home, and I will watch every second
so
of it.
good.
Yeah,
All right, crazy
that's-
question.
yeah.
This is kind of a so
Let's get two more each.
two more each. So if Norma had a moment where she would roll her eyes at something you did, what was that thing you do that makes Norma go, "Oh, Ronnie"?
That was a good one. He says he's not good at this stuff. That was a good one.
What is that thing?
That's so normal.
That's so good. Oh, come on, no.
I mean,
no.
it's just
That
one of
thing.
those things.
What happened yesterday?
What was
Well, normally it's like when I start these or meet somebody new and I go into these stories, you know, there's something that always heads you into there.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
always.
you're just like, and then she will remind me, you know, that commercial on TV that talks you becoming your dad. You just passed your.
You
dad,
just went past.
You know,
That's
so
awesome. I love it.
yeah, that's.
So basically anything to get you into those stories, she's like,
And
"Here
she's
we
like,
go."
I've heard this 9,000
I
times.
love it.
Here we go.
So
Okay,
anyway.
I'll ask you. We got asked this on the podcast today. I thought I
Okay.
like this question.
Hold
You don't have to pick a spiritual answer and say something from the Bible, but if you do, that's okay. Who is one person, dead or alive, you wish you could just sit down for an hour with, have coffee with, and just pick their brain?
Terry Bradshaw, I just think he's
He
a
is
trip.
a Steelers man.
He is a
He
Steelers
And I would
Steelers
just like
man.
to hear
I love it.
And
He's hardcore.
biblical would just be Peter, so I could come back and look at other people and go, "Man, you are a Peter." You know, that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
because we tell everybody they're Peter's like, yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
really are.
Yeah. I don't really know what everybody means by that, but
Yeah,
you
neither.
know,
Neither. Is that a good Peter
But-
or the? I don't know him, Peter.
yeah, that's
don't
kind of
wanna go that way.
probably those two. You know,
Okay, I like that.
just because I think Terry Bradshaw's an idiot. I mean, he's so funny though.
Yeah, he's fun.
You know,
Okay,
But-
so do you play golf?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, sweet.
so are you a layup guy or go for it guy?
go for it.
Hey,
No laying up, man. That's fine.
No.
Shameless plug.
there you go.
It might look after I hit it, it might look like I was laying up,
A
but
shank.
Shout
You
out to
know.
the no laying up boys.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're not a conservative golfer.
oh no,
No.
if I was getting paid for it, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
makes
going back
sense.
to work tomorrow,
There you go.
so let's hit it.
Hit it.
You know,
Go for glory. You know what I'm saying?
serious.
Go for glory.
I like it.
Okay, so is this the last question?
This is you. Their last question. Here we
I
go.
feel like it's gonna be really good. Okay, you're stranded on an island.
I love this.
What 3 books you got?
I love it.
Or movies? I'll give you movies. I don't know if you're. You can
let's see.
take whichever direction you want.
Of course, my Bible, for sure.
That's 66. Just kidding.
Yeah. Movie, Rudy.
I love Rudy. Are you? Oh!
The bet my dog's named Rudy.
Oh.
After the movie, you know. And then probably, man.
I love the Michael Scott joke when he's like, what if they stopped Rudy? What if, he's talking about good stories. He's like, you don't make movies about failures. He's like, what if Rudy wouldn't have made the football team?
That's right.
Movie would have been a whole lot shorter, a whole lot funnier. So I think I messed that quote up. But that's
so good.
Lord.
Okay, so Rudy. Okay.
And Castaway, so I could figure out what to do.
Amen.
You know, that'd be it.
That is
like
not
that, you know?
bad. I like that.
Yeah, so that's
right.
probably it.
That's how you know Dwight Schrute answers that. He said, I would take Physician's Almanac, hollowed out, inside, matches, rope on the stuff. I'm a big Office fan.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I love
Big
The
time.
Office.
Oh,
Cool.
I love
Well, man,
it.
we're glad you're here.
Thanks.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you for
And,
letting me come in and sit
Glad
with
you're
you a
part
little
of
bit.
this crazy family.
It's going to be fun.
I'm excited about it. So anyway.
Looking forward
I'm
to it.
excited. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for listening. We'll catch you with Justin, Brad, and Steve, and Johnny.
Yeah, we're doing that.
We're recording in a couple weeks.
That's right. Looking
And
forward
so
to
I got a guest on the podcast.
Yes.
So
So,
we'll see how that goes.
all right.
But thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, man.
Good
Thanks so
beans.
much.
You too.
All right.
I always hate the ending. It feels so awkward. It's like we just said